Uh, Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second episode of our podcast of Serenity. Together, we have with us the co-founder, Mr. Boris. Thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. We can jump right in with the questions, I think, David, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead. Welcome again, everyone. And first and foremost, before we start off, wherever you are in the world, we hope you're safe. So that being said, we'll jump into the questions, but our thoughts are with everyone which is in a situation of need. So that being said, Jenny, please go ahead.
Sure. Okay, to continue with the questions. First question for today is Serenity frequently references its patent survivability protocol and other intellectual property as part of its institutional grade infrastructure. Could you clarify the current legal status of these patents? Are they fully granted, pending, or provisionally filed? Additionally, how are these patents strategically integrated into your commercial roadmap? For example, licensing, exclusivity, consortium use, or defensive IP protection?
Okay. What is very interesting is that we always get several questions in one question.
Yeah, true.
And before going to reply, am I audible? Everyone can hear me good? Because
yes.
Today I'm outside. Okay, it's a bit different from last time. Okay, you see, a patent pending process is what it's called in the process. It's pending. We have created an architecture, created a method, and we have sent this for a non-provisional patent application, which means our application is pending for approval. But that process is very long. Why? Because the patent office check within their archives, within their database, if there are any similarities. Then they come back to you with a set of questions. You have to tackle those questions. And then this back and forth, every back and forth take 3-4 months to receive the question. They give you 3 months to answer the question. And then after 3 months, they again come back to you with a new set of questions. So you can imagine this ping pong game can take some months or even some years before things get settled. Now coming to the survivability, we are, I would say, at the final stage of potentially obtaining this patent. What does it mean? Of course, if we obtain a patent, we are in a position to license this patent, license this technology, use it among the consortium we have created with other partners, and benefit, monetize all these years of patent application and obtaining that patent. Patent is a monetizable asset as long as you get it, right? That has to be very clear. Mm-hmm. It's not to protect your business, it's to monetize your business, okay? You patent because you believe you have something that others don't have, and if they need it, they come to you and pay you to use it. Okay? So that's the whole principle of a patent. But also, for a small company like Serenity, is to make sure we are protected. Dealing with big guys, big clients, giant companies, sometimes if you're not careful enough and you share all your secret sources, those people can take it from you and do it on their own, right? So there is a professional approach, legal approach, technical approach to make sure that everything we do will benefit Serenity and the community and the partners at large.
Yeah, understandable. I think that happens every day in the business world in general. You know, the big guys trying to steal the secrets of smaller companies.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yes.
but when you have in your team people like you and Fars and the other people that are very experienced, they know how to handle things like this. So guys, this is a very good lesson for you that you are listening in regards of
Yes.
business.
I mean, what I want to say, for example, we have 2 patents pending, right? One is on the survivability protocol, the inheritance that we have been announcing for 2 years. The second is on the gold tokenization, which Jay and Venkat are the true architects. Okay, so they have come up with the design, the method. I mean, having an idea, everyone has an idea, right? But putting it into a paper, into a method, into a executable technological framework, it's very difficult, right? So currently, those 2 patents we have, and it's good you mentioned, Jenny, the whole team is working on it. Our devs are also involved sometime to prepare the answers, because, you know, the people that ask you question are judges, technical judges. They're not just anyone, they're technical judges, and you can't mess around. You are represented by a lawyer, a technical patent lawyer, okay? And usually it costs a lot of money from the moment you file to the moment you obtain. There is a heavy cost involved. That's all I wanted to add.
Very nice, and maybe good to add here for the ones that don't know. Of course, Venkat Naga, our CEO, but also Jay Falla, which is Director of Blockchain Innovation and Product Architecture, will be actually joining in future podcasts as well. So if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to not miss that one out, because it will be very interesting to say the least. Sorry, Jenny, go ahead.
The next person is asking, hello team, do I need to take any action on BitPanda? Simple question this time.
What sort of action? Commercial action, legal action? Okay. So what I wanted to say is we are responsible on delivering what BitPanda was holding for their client. Then when it comes to the distribution of those tokens, they need to discuss with Panda, and we are in the back also discussing with Panda to resolve any problem BitPanda may face.
Mm-hmm.
Happen. You see,
it's
sometimes
okay.
I'm outside, technical issue, maybe internet, maybe I don't know. Luckily here, there is no, we're not at, I would say, under any missile or attacks. I'm currently in Oman, so it's very safe and peaceful. And yes, I don't know what happened. There was a blackout. I couldn't see you guys.
No problem at all, Boris. And indeed, also due to the situation, Boris having to move from Dubai to Oman, the podcast is, as you notice, in a little bit of a different format. Regardless, we're very happy to be here. So that being said, we'll continue on to the next question, which will be from Mordic. Good evening. Will the chart be new with new token RWS, or will it retain the historical data from the old token like last time?
This is a new phase, new start, with tons of knowledge accumulated and experience acquired, but chart will be new, fresh, starting with RWS, which today was actually live on BSC Scan with the logo. So from that moment, once the token is live, there will be new chart associated to it.
Very good. And I think to add to that, the difference in here, since the question or the comparison was made with less time is that the less time we didn't change the token name, ticker, logo, and that was
And smart contract.
honestly exactly, yeah. So it was very minor compared to what we're doing currently, in which we're completely migrating to RWS. So yes, that explains the completely new chart. Absolutely. Then we have a next question from GCHR. I don't know if you know this out of top of your head, but he's asking first and foremost, how many sAxess cards have been sold to this date?
Let's be frank, not many, and that's verifiable. But again, it's subjective. Some people might see not many as a lot, but for a company that have ambition and to position itself as a leading company within the space, not many. Is it in the hundreds of thousands? No. Is it in the tens of thousands? No. But the thing is, although we have not been selling a lot, as you guys may see, we have not been reliant and dependent on the sales performance to survive. And we have also sort of horizontally created new use cases for the sAxess card to position ourselves also better and target also the the enterprises, right? So the B2B. So we have a B2C now segment and a B2B segment. But to come back to the question, not a lot from our standpoint, our perspective.
Yeah, not as many as we would have liked. That, of course, being said, we do definitely target to still have these amounts in the near future, in which we can be very happy of the numbers that we've sold, and no less trust from anyone in the team in that target at all. So the follow-up would be, what has become of the B2B storage sales? Talking, of course, about sBox. Are they still part of the economy company?
This was not laid out and executed in a full-fledged because market has been evolving. Some contractual agreement did not execute in the way we were wishing and hoping for. In the meantime and in the interim, some of our staff, dedicated staff for this section, have moved on and left to other companies. So we are relatively a small organization. So we had to prioritize what's to be delivered first. Definitely it's part of the agenda. Definitely is within the roadmap. Definitely creating a node array system based on POP presence is there. We only have 2 for now. And scaling up to 10 or 15 requires funds, dedicated team, and of course, contractual engagement with third parties. So things are a little bit slower. They're not paused. They're not on hold. They just have less priority than what we're doing now.
Yeah, I think that sums it up pretty well. It's a matter of priorities, right? And especially, of course, with sAxess launch and everything coming in between. I think it also makes a bit of sense. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not sitting at the 100s of millions of market cap, right? So naturally, yes, we have to take priorities. It's as simple as that. Definitely not neglected, though. Of
course, if you have the money, everything is easier. Right? You create divisions, and based on those divisions, you hire head of division, VPs, and you deploy a full dedicated team for the network infrastructure and data management, data storage. But of course, if you have less money, you have to, and less sales as well, not only money. Sales was not there. Why sales was not there? To also sum up a little bit, because the market was bad for the past year and a half. If there is no crypto trade, if there is no market that is extremely popular, people will not buy some sort of a dedicated wallet for a market that is down, right? Because there is no demand for it. So this plus that make it that we had to really count our treasury and make sure that we don't overexpose ourselves, because overexposure to deliver everything might end up that you do nothing.
Exactly. Next question is, are listing plans in place to at least recover the same level of trading as before the RWS if BitPanda and Gate are no longer involved?
Okay. This is, again, a good question, and definitely I summarize it in 2 points. We have not spent millions of dollars of product that is ecosystem based on a token to not be listed or heavily available in the market, whether it's a SEX or a DEX. That's first. The second is that our resilience and our deliverables have proven to a lot of exchanges that we are a serious player, although our size remains very little in terms of tokenomics, but very big in terms of technology deliverables and our collaboration. Okay? So definitely there will be listing, and definitely there will be multi-chain, whether SEX or DEX, we will be multi-chain and there will be multiple listing. Gate is not a delisting. It's a respectful posing of our collaboration, because as a regulated entity, regulated project, there are certain things that we could not agree with, and we said, guys, we will discuss maybe later, right? Mm-hmm. So nothing is doomed. Everything is sort of reviewed. Okay? Same as the token. The smart contract is new. The listing, the logo is refreshed. The charts will be new. This is also going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Next question is, will sAxess be available on Amazon on US and Europe?
Definitely. Most definitely. Amazon works in 2 or 3 different ways. Algorithm based, if you have a lot of sales, they open more region, or you regionally open. But I have to admit, this delay is not dependent on us. When the tariff policy from the US kicked in, we were in shambles like many other people, not knowing what to do. Even the shipping companies could not give us a proper, accurate custom related duties to the goods. So we could not basically store the goods in the US at a storage facility and start listing in the US. Until now, the tariffs are uncertain because they've been so sort of irregular and changing so often that we took a position, a conscious decision to put things on hold and not take a risk to get our goods frozen at the customs and face further uncertainties.
Yeah, there are certain things you unfortunately cannot predict in the world, and you have to stay safe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely one of them. And then a very interesting question is, what is the purpose of the newly created company Quant LD, created to meet MiCA demand? ?
Okay. when you are part of, or when you decide to be part of a regulatory framework, there are certain obligations to fulfill. The white paper associated and linked to our website clearly define the role of Quant ID, which is the token issuer. Okay? You need a token issuer, right? You can't have a regulatory framework without a token issuer. So Quant ID is the company that issues the token. We'll have different companies within the network that are in charge of the software development, the marketing, and so on and so forth. And each company, part of the group, belongs to the holding company. So Quant ID have a very specific role, and I've just said it, and it's also verifiable on the white paper attached to the website.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, you can find everything there. And also, if you can't find it, don't hesitate to send us a message either in the group or in DMs, and we'll happily help you further there, of course. Then we have a question from Parsuran, which says, I firmly believe in the good results of this company, but I've always had one doubt. With such a bright future, why is this project so eager into having a token? Because sharing these benefits, what is the benefit of the company of having a token?
Okay. Again, it's a very interesting question. You see, this comes from the fact that people have lost trust in the crypto market and altcoins because no one could really deliver anything, okay? But you have to look further. You have to envision the future based on political narrative and financial narrative. Where is the market going? Where are the political establishment going? They are forming CBDCs, right? And they are creating digital currencies. Digital currencies are blockchain based. That means tomorrow wallet will become mandatory. Today you're downloading an application that is a Web2 based. Tomorrow wallets will be mandatory to hold your salary and your government currencies, your country's currency. So having said that, it's very strange because usually something is regulated and it becomes massively adopted, but the crypto have started the opposite. It was unregulated, got adopted, then regulation kicked in. Okay? So us being on the blockchain, we are only fulfilling that future narrative that services and products and financial means will be blockchain based. And blockchain based, you cannot collect money if you don't have a blockchain based product or your token to be swappable with stable coins or fiat digital currencies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very nice. And then we have one last one from, again, the same person. And this is, we want to know what your minimum target price is for the token. Well, I'll answer that one very easily. I don't really think it would be appropriate for us to name target prices, that first and foremost.
No.
But Boris, please go ahead.
No, you can't give a target price. Everything is, as I said, is based on adoption. Last podcast I mentioned, it's not about holders, it's about users. If you have users, by default, you have holders, and by default, you have a price push. Why? Because more people use your product or your ecosystem, more the basic requirement of supply and demand is fulfilled, right? So it's all about users. And the advantage, there are two major advantage into the blockchain: 24/7 industry and borderless. Okay, so it's worldwide. So if you are operating out of Greece or Holland or Oman or anywhere that have relatively a small population, it does not mean that your market is limited because you are borderless and you're 24/7.
Exactly. And the 24/7 part, I think it's very, very important, and many
Yes.
people brush it off. But there are no business hours in this. It's literally 24/7.
Yes.
Okay. Do you guys want to conclude with the question and jump into the next part of the podcast, which is more like a conversation on some other topics?
So we can continue. One thing I want to say, Jenny, because you spotted this 24/7. You see, normally in Western societies, it's an 8-hour shift, right?
Exactly.
People work 8-hour shift, 5 days a week, right? 5 times 8 is 40 hours. 40 hours, and you have downtime, and you have market that are closed. The stock market is closed and stuff like this. Let's say the stock market works 10 hours, is open 10 hours, 12 hours per day, 5 days per week. That's make 50 hours, 60 hours. Here, on a 24/7, you are on 168 hours. So it's 4 times more than personal output from an employee, and probably 3.5 times more than any other organization. That's insane. The output you can have on a 24/7, people don't realize. But it's a game changer for the world, not only for Serenity, but for the world's economy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree. And we will have a blog on our website this week. Make sure to check it out regarding this matter.
Great.
And yes. Okay, David, do you want to continue with the next topics?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, as mentioned in the previous podcast, of course, now we have a little bit of the AMA format due to all the questions which were previously asked. But of course, from next week onwards and the other podcast, we will really remain with the core format, which of course means that we will cover some of the either events happening in the market or the world in general. So that being said, we actually found a very interesting article from Crypto News, Boris, of which I'll shortly summarize it. And I would love to hear your opinion after. So what this article basically says is that the crypto venture capital funding rose 50% year over year to 25.5 billion, even though the number of deals dropped by 46%. So that tells me that investors are surely moving away from small speculative startups and are putting money in more large, or rather established, crypto infrastructure companies, so to speak. I think this aligns quite well if we look at our own company and our own partnerships. In the past, it used to be way easier compared to now, and also would say a bit less serious. What's your opinion on this?
Look, from the inception of this, or I would say the last 2 cycles, crypto was not taken seriously because it was a sort of a monetary value given based on narrative, projections, and paper announcements. Okay, things have slowly started to shift with the regulation I was mentioning earlier. Regulations means structure. Structures means institutional. That means there are more serious, instead of being adamant and vindicative to look at this crypto as whatever thin air business, it becomes more of a financial establishment. Okay, so once this become regulated in a financial establishment, the traction from retail may phase out, but the traction or the attention from the businesses may grow. What makes the economy? Not retail. Businesses. Businesses are driving the economy, not individuals, right? So an entrepreneur, as an individual, create a company, but he hire 15, 20 people. So the business drives employment, not the individual. Okay? This is the same thing. When businesses start to look at crypto as a regulated financial product, then you have a game changer, because they will drive the business. And that's why we are seeing tokenization. And as a matter of fact, currently, with the state of the economy that has been sort of going south and everything is collapsing since last week, and this unfortunate geopolitical situation, the only industry that went up is tokenization. And tokenization from last year on Ethereum to this year went 200% up. Why? Because tokenization is related to real businesses and real assets.
Yeah, flight to quality, I would say. I mean, it's becoming more and more obvious that, of course, investors are focusing on projects with the real revenue models, the stronger market positions, the verifiable partners, which have already a strong ground. Idemia, an example. So, yeah, definitely sums it up, I think. Jenny, go ahead.
Yeah, since you mentioned the geopolitical situation in the world right now, another thing that's rising are oil prices. The next article, it's something for this. Bitcoin has dropped to around $66,000 as rising oil prices and geopolitical tensions put pressure on global markets. Oil prices surged above $110 per barrel, driven by escalating tensions in the Middle East. That spike is raising fears of higher inflation, which could force the Federal Reserve to keep interest rates higher for longer. Because Bitcoin is currently highly correlated with stock markets, the broader risk of sentiment is pushing crypto down as well. Bitcoin ETFs also saw about 576 million in outflows, adding selling pressure. The article is by Crypto News also.
Well, I have my own theory when it comes to Bitcoin, not necessarily. You see, you should not look an explanation and a correlation in everything and anything, okay? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes it just doesn't work like that. And they want people to think like that because the masses will always go the wrong direction. And few will benefit because they would have seen something that the masses or the general public do not see. Okay? Now coming to the oil prices, obviously it comes back to the previous discussion I've mentioned, the school elementary level of supply and demand. If you cut off a supply and demand is there and keep rising, price will go up. Right now, we have this situation in the Middle East where the Strait of Hormuz has been heavily impacted or closed, nobody knows, which stand for 25% of the world oil logistic. So, of course, if 25% of the oil logistic is blocked from a certain point, but the demand is there, and also we are seeing in this situation that oil refinery getting damaged, bombed for whatever as a collateral damages, the prices will go up. Market hate uncertainties. Fear is the biggest enemy of prosperity. You can't prosper within a fear factor. You can make money in a fear factor, but you can't have mass prosperity in a fear factor. Okay? So gold going up is based on oil going up is based on a fear factor. Gold going down is based on a fear factor. Now coming to Bitcoin, Bitcoin has shown that in this cycle, it completely sort of decorrelated itself from altcoins and from many different financial factors that people were looking at. Why? Because for many years, gold was very stable and Bitcoin was growing 2-3x's in average per year, whereas gold was going up 5 to 10% per year, and people were making fun. Now it's became opposite. Gold has grown a lot, and Bitcoin, after reaching 120K, is now back to 60, 65. And I think it's going to go lower. It's going to go lower. My theory, and this is personal, it does not engage the company. I'm sharing with you what I think, is that the tokenization model of precious metal and especially gold will allow two asset class, being a digitized version of gold and digitized version of Bitcoin, be intertraded, swappable, and allowing huge leverage and monetization between two assets that are more or less in the same value, and also allows CBDCs and government to acquire Bitcoin at a much lower price because they missed the entry point, and help to revamp their economy on a digital, digitization and tokenization version of the financial system. That's my intake.
Yeah, and adds up, of course, with also the previous article in which it says, I mean, the number of investors, they fell by 34.5%. I think, you know, for the ones which are in the market longer, this is nothing more than usual, although the market situation currently is a bit unusual. We know where it's coming from, right? But I think all signs are backing up what's being said here. And also, again, the part in which people are clearly preferencing investing in projects with either revenue or at least a footmark. So that being said, we're well over the 35 minutes. So I'd say let's end the podcast here. First and foremost, please, again, do subscribe, leave a comment. You'll make us very happy, a like even. And also, both articles can be found both in the description, and we'll of course also share them in the post that we'll make for the podcast. So thanks again for listening in, all of you.
Thank you. And sorry for my bad lighting. I'm half in a shadow, half in half in the dark. I see my face on the camera is cut in half. Well, that's also the reality of being outside and not studio based, and brings a bit of, you know, difference in this podcast, right? So but sorry for this bad lighting. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The subject were very interesting. Hopefully next week we'll have Venkat and maybe Jay and many other guests, large client partners, collaboration. Maybe people from the community could also participate and give their opinion and their journey with us and within the crypto space, and how they have benefited or lost confidence within the crypto field. We have some very bright chaps in our community, and I'd like to invite them if they're willing to come forward. So thank you guys, and speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon, everyone, and we'll surely get that done, Boris. Have a lovely evening,
Okay.
all of you. Thanks.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
tuning
Bye-bye.
in.